everyone, today I want to talk to you about how and why the Harbingers joined the Fatui. The Fatui is one of the strongest organizations in Teyvat, comprising 11 Harbingers with different characters and abilities. They are united by one global goal, preparing to confront the heavenly principles. A crucial part of achieving this goal is collecting the Gnoses from all regions of Teyvat. While it's still unclear what they need them for, we know it's the primary objective for all the Harbingers. In this video, I want to discuss the stories and development of each Harbinger. Let's start with Tartaglia. Tartaglia is the 11th Harbinger of the Fatui, and his story is well known to us. When Tartaglia was a child, he fell into the abyss and gained new powers. As a teenager, Tartaglia was quite a troublesome kid, and because of this, his father sent him to serve in the Fatui. Pulcinella accepted him into the organization under the pretext of punishment. Tartaglia started his journey from the very bottom of the organization, but eventually managed to reach the prestigious position of a Harbinger. He still remembers the day he received the title and the delusion. On that day, Tartaglia stood directly before the majestic Tsaritsa, admiring her cold and pure gaze. She was not only the cryo-archon, but also a true warrior. The number 1 Harbinger, Capitano, personally placed the distinction mark on his belt. Thus, the 11th Harbinger of the Fatui vowed to serve his archon faithfully and truthfully. Judging by Tartaglia's story, one might think he's quite a simple character with an ordinary story, but if we recall Fontaine and Tartaglia's connection with the Abyss and Skirk, everything becomes less straightforward. The next Harbinger in descending order is number 10. We know nothing about this Harbinger, and we didn't see him in the Fatui teaser despite all the other Harbingers except Scaramouche being there. Perhaps this position is vacant, or for some reason he did not come to say goodbye to Signora. The next Harbinger is Pantalone, who is number 9. Pantalone is the most ordinary person among the Harbingers, not even having a vision. He grew up in poverty, which drove his ambition to become wealthy. Scaramouche says Pantalone is obsessed with ideas of fair trade to the extent that he tries to disrupt the natural inequality between humans and archons. He wants relationships between humans and gods to be equal, and the influence of gods on humans to be minimal. Thanks to Pantalone, the Fatui and Snežnaja acquired considerable wealth. Pantalone also prefers to personally handle the organization's financial matters. For example, he managed to negotiate the indefinite lease of the Goth Grand Hotel for the Fatui delegation, even though it contradicted the hotel's owner's principles. In short, Pantalone is in charge of the Fatui's financial issues. Let's move on to Harbinger number 8. Previously, Signora lived in Mondstadt, and there she fell in love with a knight named Rostam. Then the young woman went to study in Sumeru, but upon returning to Mondstadt, Signora learned that her beloved had died. She turned into flame and wanted to take revenge on the Anemo Archon for not being able to protect her beloved. After these events, Signora was met by Capitano, who offered her to join the Fatui. There, Signora was given a cryo-delusion to prevent her from burning herself with her own flame. In the Fatui, Signora saw hope that the world would change, and after these changes, such tragedies as what happened to her beloved would not happen to anyone. Currently, Signora has already died at the hands of the Electro-Archon. The 7th Harbinger is Sandrone, known as the Marionette. We know almost nothing about her. Insiders say that Sandrone is a famous mechanic, and all the Catherines we meet in the game are her creations. In addition, Sandrone studies advanced technologies and ancient robots. She spends a lot of effort on this and therefore hardly participates in the organization's affairs. As for Sandrone's appearance, it cannot be said with certainty that what we saw in the trailer is the real Harbinger. Perhaps the girl we saw is actually just a puppet, and the real Sandrone controls her from afar. Tartaglia says that he met with the marionette only a few times. Each meeting was very stressful for him because Sandrone radiated hatred towards him. Scaramouche also met with Sandrone. According to him, Sandrone has a terrible character and her achievements in research are mediocre. We do not currently know how she joined the Fatui, but we do know that she is only involved in creating robots for the organization. The 6th Harbinger used to be Scaramouche, but after completing the quest in Sumeru, he is no longer a Harbinger and does not influence the organization's work. So let's immediately move on to number 5. Pulcinella, as I already mentioned, recruited Tartaglia into the Fatui, also takes care of his family and constantly gives gifts. Tartaglia expresses gratitude for this and thinks Pulcinella sincerely wants to help him and also considers him a family member. However, Scaramouche doubts Pulcinella's sincere intention to help and believes that his intentions are not pure. He says that the Tartaglia family is now in the hands of Pulcinella, likely to make it easier to manipulate the witless Tartaglia. According to insider information, Pulcinella is the mayor of the city of Snežnaja. In public, he appears to be an energetic person dedicated to his work and caring for the city's residents. The fourth Harbinger of the Fatui is Arlecchino. She serves as a father figure to the children of the House of the Hearth orphanage. Arlecchino herself was once a resident of this orphanage. The essence of the orphanage lies in the selective screening of children to find the most talented one and subsequently recruit them into the organization. Previously, the head of the orphanage was Columbina, and her rules were very harsh, forcing children to fight to the death. Eventually, young Arlecchino killed the Harbinger and after serving time in prison took her place, making the orphanage rules more lenient. Arlecchino is also known to be associated with the Crimson Moon dynasty, an ancient lineage of pureblood Khaenri'ah inhabitants. In the future, Arlecchino's connection to Khaenri'ah might awaken a desire for revenge against the heavenly principles for the sake of her people. The next Harbinger of the Fatui, ranked number 3, is Columbina. Because of her unique personality, Columbina handles diplomacy within the Fatui and acts as the Tsaritsa's representative in deals and negotiations. It is possible that she deals with diplomacy due to the power of her eyes. I think it's not a coincidence that we haven't been shown her eyes. Perhaps she can manipulate people with them. Tartaglia states that all Fatui Harbingers are ranked by strength and he doesn't understand why she holds the third position. He also says that he would like to test his strength against everyone in the organization, but Columbina seems somewhat strange to him. From his words, we can infer that Tartaglia is wary of her. Scaramouche says that Columbina remains foolish, ignorant, and insensitive under any circumstances. He would challenge her to a fight but advises us to keep our distance from her. Arlecchino notes that Columbina speaks very cryptically and even when she answers a question may not say anything of substance. Insiders have provided a characterization of the heroine for voice actors to better portray her. According to this characterization, Columbina gives an impression of being weak and foolish at first glance. She is always calm, polite, avoids those she dislikes, yet strives to please those she admires. In battle, she does not show aggression or interest, remaining impartial. Columbina cannot control her power in battle, causing excessive damage. She is the most mysterious of all, which has led to various fan theories in the community. There is a theory that Columbina may be one of the world's oldest beings, having emerged during the formation of ancient Teyvat. If this theory proves true, Columbina's age could be over 6,000 years. The Fatui Harbinger ranked second is Dottore. He is known for his unethical experiments on humans. In his youth, Dottore was a student at the Sumero Academy, aiming to create enhanced versions of humans. He was called a madman for his inhuman methods, stubbornness, and arrogance. Later, Dottore was expelled from the academy, which disappointed him as it no longer provided the environment and resources for his research. After his expulsion, rumors about Dottore quickly spread across Sumeru and caught the attention of Pierro. The head of the Fatui promised Dottore the resources for his research if he joined the organization. It is possible that Pierro saw in Dottore someone capable of implementing a specific part of the Tsaritsa's plan. Perhaps in the future, Dottore will interact with the Gnoses and manage to recreate the powers of the third descender. Capitano is the first Harbinger of the Fatui. He previously held a prestigious position in Khaenri'ah and was the commander of an entire squad. After the tragedy, he lost his family, comrades, and homeland. When the situation in Khaenri'ah became irreparable, he fled to Natlan with the remnants of his squad. In Natlan, Capitano spent a significant amount of time and fought extensively because the region was also heavily infested with the Abyss. We know that compared to his prime, Capitano has weakened, yet he remains very strong. It is unclear whether he received the position of the first Harbinger with the powers he had 500 years ago or if his strength still matches his status. Capitano also shared an interesting fact about Tsaritsa. According to him, the Cryo-Archon gives each Harbinger the freedom to seek the meaning of their existence. This is why the methods of the Harbingers differ so radically. We know that Capitano does not believe in the predetermination of fate, which is probably why he tries to oppose heavenly principles on the side of Tsaritsa. Overall, Capitano appears to be an honest, brave, and fearless person, contrasting with the perception of other Harbingers. Scaramouche sees his righteousness as a potential danger. The head of the Fatui is Pierro. In Khaenri'ah, he held the position of a court mage. Among other mages, he was an outcast, yet he was somehow acquainted with our twin. Due to his low status compared to other mages, Pierro was unable to prevent or influence the catastrophe. After the tragedy in Khaenri'ah, Pierro joined with the Tsaritsa, leading the Fatui organization. There, Pierro played chess using the Gio and Anemo Gnoses, contemplating the importance of opposing the heavenly principles. After the funeral, Pierro promised the deceased Signora that her final resting place would be the old world. We know very little about Pierro's character, but it is certain that he is willing to sacrifice much to oppose the gods. We also know that Pierro does not object to the deaths of civilians if it contributes to achieving the organization's goals. We are aware that Pierro and the Tsaritsa share the same stance towards the heavenly principles, both having lost something important 500 years ago and deciding to unite. Well, that's the end of my story. Thanks for watching. Write in the comments what you think about Fatui. Subscribe to my channel, it gives me more motivation to make videos more often and make them more interesting. See you soon, friends!